Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today as we're talking all about WWE's Elimination Chamber 2019. I can tell you that this pay-per-view really snuck up on me. I know that the Chamber has always sort of been that hole filler in between WrestleMania and the Royal Rumble. I think that they're even doing WWE's Roadblock pay-per-view on the way in between as well, but I sort of really wasn't looking forward to the Chamber coming up so fast, but here it is on Sunday. We're going to have the go-home Monday Night Raw. We're going to have SmackDown this week, and then boom, it's going to be here. This doesn't look like the biggest pay-per-view of all time. It doesn't look like it's going to be earth-shattering. It's definitely going to have stuff that does set up WWE's WrestleMania. Chamber has always been a pay-per-view that always has, the Chamber matches that always deliver. Make sure that you're glad you sat down to watch wrestling. The 4-hour pay-per-view length still really wears me out. I'm at the point right now where I'm not even really looking forward to WrestleMania 35 because of the fact that I'm gonna have to basically make it feel like I'm working a shift at work after I get off just to watch wrestling sitting on my couch. So who knows? I mean, WWE's WrestleMania is probably going to be an 8-hour spectacular once it's all said and done, with the more than likely 3-hour pre-show, 5-hour pay-per-view. By the time that's over, you're going to be like, man, I don't even really honestly know if it was worth it to get it done. 3 hours is all right. 4 hours every once in a while. But man, it just feels like it takes a lot to be a wrestling fan these days. When you look at the overwhelming, show, which is going to be going down, it looks like we're going to be having 2 different Chamber matches. We're going to be having one for the WWE Championship, the brand new eco-friendly WWE Championship that was crowned by Daniel Bryan. Of course, more than likely, he's going to be having his backup there to go along with him. But you've got a lot of guys eyeing getting to WrestleMania 35 and getting a key match on the show. Bryan's going to be going in there with AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Mustafa Ali, Randy Orton, and Samoa Joe, definitely in my mind. Bryan and Styles have to be it has to be one of the best the best favorites to win the show. Jeff Hardy is somebody that could get it, but I think it has to come down to being Bryan or Styles to win the whole thing. We're going to be having the Elimination Chamber with the women climbing in there. This is going to be going after the Women's Tag Team Championship. In my mind, you can sort of see that it's going to have to be, once the whole thing comes down with the Raw and SmackDown TV lineup, with Raw going to USA, Fox getting SmackDown, we're going to have to see that. I think everything's going to come together. As you can see, this isn't going to be a Raw exclusive title or SmackDown exclusive title. You've got members from both brands climbing into the Chamber trying to win this. So when you look at the group of girls, there's a few groups of girls that I think has a chance to win this. It could go either way, but I think the biggest story that I can see is that, more than likely the brand split that we see as of today, I think is going to be dying come October once this new television deal pops up. When we look at The Miz and Shane going up against the Usos, this definitely could go 2 different ways. There's lots of stories about the Usos leaving WWE. The Miz and Shane, we could see them splitting as a tag team only to have a match at WrestleMania. We could see this as the new world's greatest tag team that just goes on this overwhelming run of just beating everyone in the WWE, having this lengthy title reign where they just take out everybody. So in my mind, this honestly could go either way. We got Ronda going up against Ruby Riott. Honestly, in my opinion, with the Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch storyline going on, I think this is one of those title matches that it's along the way, on the way to WrestleMania. I think we've seen Ronda beat Ruby Riott twice On Monday Night Raw. I think we've seen this match already, so this will be the third time this is going down. Ruby Riott is somebody I think in time is going to be a credible person to go after the championship, but I don't think that it's going to happen at the Chamber. I don't think anybody's going to be placing a bet on Ruby Riott to make this go down. With Buddy Murphy going up against Tozawa, I'm pretty sure Buddy Murphy's going to be getting the win there. So I'm guessing that more matches have to get named on Raw or SmackDown tonight or tomorrow. More than likely, something's going to have to go down with that. So we'll see. Damn, they won't leave me alone. We'll have to see what goes down, but these are the key matches that go along for this. So, this looks like it's going to be a pretty good show. Just going to be kind of lengthy, and hopefully at the end of it, I'm not going to be, trying to figure out why I'm still a wrestling fan anymore. Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here as we're counting down to WWE's Elimination Chamber 2019. The WWE's Women's Championship is going to be online. Of course, there's lots of stories out there about Ronda Rousey maybe not liking her spot in WWE, always thinking that it was a dream to perform and work for WWE now that she's been in there and she's been doing it for about a year. Maybe it's not what it was cracked out to be with it, her being on the road. I know that she does big, like Madison Square Garden. I think she did Chicago. I think she does the big house shows, but I don't know if she's doing towns like Sacramento, California, or Stockton, or shows like that, or, she has a little bit of a lighter schedule than most. But, at least you can say about Ronda Rousey is that she's been on pretty much every single Monday Night Raw since she's been on the roster. The stories that are out there is that she's going to be taking some time off after WrestleMania. There was stories that, she threatened to quit WWE, back in like November, December, maybe thinking that this was not the right road that she wanted to go down. I don't know what to believe in. I think that more than likely there's probably money to be made out there. Probably Ronda got an offer to make a movie, and she's going to be taking some time off after WrestleMania. She was probably able to either to work out, or it just worked out that it happened to be after WrestleMania, a time when Ronda Rousey could be excused. Maybe the Becky Lynch era could start in WWE, and Becky Lynch could easily pick up with a feud against Charlotte or Asuka, or one of the girls that are on the roster, and doesn't really need an immediate rematch against Ronda right out of the gate. Ronda could probably, lose the match at WrestleMania, and then she could go on like what happened after she lost to Holly Holm, where basically she took an extended break from UFC before coming back and losing the next fight. But basically, that could play into the storyline where Ronda doesn't like to lose. She takes it hard. Even if she maybe goes through an injury angle, still just it takes forever for her to get back into the ring, and it could be excused that she goes off and pursues other things that are out there. Ronda with her star level, I think WWE is going to bend over backwards to make sure that she's happy and keep her inside of the family. With her match against Ruby Riott at Elimination Chamber, I think this isn't going to be a squash match. I mean, Ruby Riott is somebody that I honestly believe in a few years is going to be a real star in WWE. I just don't take her as a real threat. As somebody who's going to be taking down, Ronda Rousey, especially right before, Becky Lynch, who won the Women's Royal Rumble, challenges for the championship. Of course, that's the way they're going to try and, portray the storyline on television, is that Ronda has to get through Ruby in order to get to WrestleMania to be able to take on Becky Lynch, even if they have this sort of bloodthirsty feud, which reveals back, to Survivor Series of last year. We'll see how that plays out, but definitely at Elimination Chamber, I think that Ronda Rousey's going to be getting the win, and that's pretty easy to say that I don't think anybody's going to be putting money on Ruby Riott to get the win. Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. SmackDown Tag Team title is going to be on the line at WWE's Elimination Chamber. It's going to be The Miz and Shane McMahon putting the titles on the line, going up against the Usos. Lots to talk about the Usos right now. People thinking that the Usos are going to be leaving WWE. That they are, one of the many people on the roster that are unhappy about their spot. I think that there's lots of rumors, with the new wrestling company starting up, AEW, that, anybody whose contract is going to be coming near, that, they could be getting the itch to go work with the Young Bucks and try it out, to see, how much money the Jacksonville Jaguars really are going to be dumping into this wrestling promotion. Definitely, they've already got Kenny Omega. They've already got Chris Jericho, Cody Rhodes, and the Young Bucks sort of come with it. But they've got lots of minor stars. They've got sort of lots of indie stars that maybe aren't stars on the main level market, but they're bringing people in for different reasons. There's so many rumors out there right now that they're going to sign Randy Orton. They're going to sign the Usos. They're going to, there's going to come a point when they've signed enough people and they run out of money and they're not going to be able to sign anybody else. And then you got to wonder, to carry this kind of payroll, what's going to have to suffer, whether if it's, definitely for so many years, people have said, what's the biggest problem with Ring of Honor television is that the lighting never looks good. I mean, it's never able to hold up to WWE, and definitely his Impact is definitely taking step back after step back after step back. The lighting and the production is something that's suffered huge from this. So is that something that's gonna have to suffer in AEW? I don't think the Usos will leave WWE. Definitely, they've been in WWE for, I want to guess, since like 2010. So they're coming up on the 10-year time that they've been on the main roster, when they came in and they attacked the Hart Dynasty right out of the gate, and they won the championships. They used to have Tamina with them, didn't they, back in the day? I'm pretty sure. But, the Usos, damn good team. I don't see them, winning the titles. I'm not sure where this storyline is going to be going. Definitely, in my mind, I think that The Miz and Shane are going to have a match at WrestleMania against each other. I think that, basically anytime you have a tag team of two guys that are sort of put together and they don't really seem like they're, the best of friends, it makes sense to me that Miz and Shane would just go up against each other at WrestleMania, and that's the direction that they're going, especially when every year you look at the WrestleMania card, you have to factor in, what is Shane McMahon going to do? And I can't really think of anybody that, The Miz and Shane as a tag team would have a match against at WrestleMania. So I'm not sure if the Usos are going to be the team that beats them and that causes their split. I just don't really see The Miz and Shane going on this long undefeated streak as a tag team, just defeating everybody on the SmackDown roster. And so that's why I have them breaking up. I'm just not sure if it's going to happen against this Usos team. Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today as we're talking about WWE's Elimination Chamber 2019 pay-per-view that's going to be coming up. One of the biggest matches that's on the show is going to be the first ever women's tag team Elimination Chamber match. I remember a few years ago when they introduced tag teams into the Elimination Chamber. Of course, that was won by the New Day. I can't remember if the women had a chamber match last year, if this is the first time that they're allowing women into the Elimination Chamber, and this is part of the whole, women's revolution that we've been going through for the past few years, where they've gotten their own Royal Rumble, they've main evented a pay-per-view, they've been in the Hell in the Cell, but of course this is, going to be crowning the first ever women's tag team champions. This is something that's been rumored for well over a year. I personally thought that the women's championship was going to be named last year at the Evolution pay-per-view. And some of the teams that are even in this Elimination Chamber match were some of the people that I thought had a chance to win the titles. The one thing that I see when I look at this from a wrestling fan's perspective that's trying to, be a fan of the wrestling business, you see members of Raw, you see members of SmackDown. When you think they're only going to be bringing one set of women's tag team titles out, you have to be wondering, once we have the women's tag team champions, are they going to be bouncing back and forth between brands? But then again, the Intercontinental Champion or the United States Champion, the WWE Champion, the Universal Champion, they don't have to do that. So, what is the women's tag team division going to really be? Because, let's say somebody from Monday Night Raw wins. Is it just going to be Bayley and Sasha Banks going up against the Riot Squad week after week after week? I know that for people who really watch Raw each and every week, it seems like every match that they do, they end up doing the match on Raw for like 2 months. How many times are we going to see Rude and Gable go up against the Ascension? This storyline of the Ascension getting screwed is the storyline, but how many times do we really have to see them getting screwed in the same exact match over and over and over to get it? So we have to really see, who are the real tag teams that are in there. Of course, you have, Mandy Moore and Mandy Moore. Okay, I fucked that up. That's 100% my bad. But we've got Mandy Rose and we've got Sonya Deville. They're pretty much always together. Sasha and Bayley, if you're a fan like me, you've been waiting for them to have their own singles match for well over, 2 years now. That's a tag team that's looked like it's going to break up about 100 times and never have. You've got Carmella teaming up with Naomi. That's a makeshift tag team if I've ever seen one. You've got Tamina teaming up with Nia Jax. That one, that's a real team that it seems like they've been together for a little while now, but that's not one that I really take seriously. The Riot Squad is a team that you always see fighting together, and then you've also got the Iconics. To me, honestly, the Iconics is the truest tag team that the women's division has. It seems like there's somebody that were made for the WWE titles. Myself, they went through NXT as a team. They came up to the main roster as a team. It seems like somebody that's in the long term going to be a real team. That would mean that, of course, the Iconics would be able to bounce between brands, and I think that's the reason why I'm sort of picking them to be able to do it. Of course, you think about Bayley and Sasha. They're probably the most fan favorites of the group that it's in there. That'd be nice to bring the titles to Raw. Of course, Monday Night Raw is always going to be the A show, but then, of course, you being able to have Bayley and Sasha Banks be able to sort of flip shows and go to SmackDown, it would sort of be able to bring them up with some things that involve Becky Lynch and Charlotte having all of the 4 horsewomen on the same show. So that's sort of one reason to keep Bayley and Sasha Banks in your back pocket. But I think that what this means is that once October comes and the new WWE roster or the new television deal comes to be, I think that means that the WWE roster, even though they're doing a superstar shakeup in April, I think that come October, I'm thinking that means people from Raw will be on SmackDown, people from SmackDown will be on Raw. I think that'll be cool. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that on the upcoming shows. So peace out. Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. The WWE's main event for the WWE Elimination Chamber 2019 is going to be the WWE's champion, Daniel Bryan. He's going to be competing in the Elimination Chamber with Mustafa Ali, Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, and Samoa Joe. To me, honestly, now that I'm sort of taking a step back and looking at this entire show, it really feels really SmackDown heavy. I'm guessing that more than likely there's going to have to be something named to this pay-per-view from Monday Night Raw. I know that a few years ago, it was last year, they ended the pay-per-view brand split, and they just sort of put everybody on every show, trying to make the pay-per-views a little bit better, made them a little bit longer. Instead of getting 2 pay-per-views a month, now we only get 1, but there's a lot of SmackDown going on this show. You've got women in the Raw. You got Raw women in the WWE Tag Team Elimination Chamber. You've got the Ruby Riott versus Ronda Rousey, but that's really all that's really going down. 205 Live even has a match on there. So to me, this really feels superstar heavy from SmackDown, but Daniel Bryan has been a really good champion. He really escaped last month at the Royal Rumble, going up against AJ Styles. Of course, he had his good little buddy come down to the ring. The storyline is going to have to be how Daniel Bryan's going to have to try and fight off all of these guys on his own, because he's not going to be able to have help inside of the Elimination Chamber. But then again, if you go back and you think about the Elimination Chamber 2011, Shawn Michaels was able to find a way to get inside of the Elimination Chamber to make sure that Undertaker lost his championship. Of course, he was beat by Chris Jericho. After the super kick, Jericho became the champion. He would go on to WrestleMania 26. Oh, this would have to be 2010, I think. Then, of course, we would get to see the rematch of Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. When I look at this match, I think that honestly, it's only Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles that I see as true competitors to win the championship. Jeff Hardy would be the ultimate underdog to come back and win the championship. Of course, he's been on the quest ever since he's came back. I was really surprised that he's been used as a singles guy for so long, and Matt, who's been on the sidelines for a little while since that last injury, on Twitter, it's really looking like he's begging to come back, but it doesn't look like the WWE has any thoughts of using the Hardys as a team, or even trying to find out how to use Matt on the roster at all. I'm not trying to knock Randy Orton or Samoa Joe. These are guys that, could win the championship at any minute. Of course, there's lots of stories about Randy being unhappy, and basically his contract coming up and maybe him leaving and going to AEW. Some people say that he's only talking to them, trying to drive up his price in WWE, thinking that they'll give him more money because they think he's going to go somewhere. I think the WWE's not stupid. Orton's not going nowhere. And we talked about this in an earlier video. How much money does AEW really have to spend on superstars? They've already signed Kenny Omega. They've already signed Chris Jericho. That's 2 of the hottest free agents there is in wrestling right now. And although there's going to be a lot of money in the startup company, once you're signing superstar after superstar after superstar, what has to suffer for having this dream sort of roster that's going to be there, and it's not going to be all, roses once that money, runs out. So I don't see somebody like Randy Orton signing with AEW, and that's just my opinion. Samoa Joe is somebody that could become WWE champion at any minute. I just don't think it's going to be happening, on the quest to WrestleMania 35. And Mustafa Ali is a fun story of being in there. I just don't think anybody has thoughts of him winning the WWE Championship. So last month, the Rumble, I really thought that Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles was the last time we were going to be seeing them paired together. But with the Chamber, it puts them back together. And that's really the only match that I could really see happening for Daniel Bryan come WrestleMania 35. So I wouldn't be surprised if Bryan wins, is challenged by AJ one more time at WrestleMania 35. Also wouldn't be surprised if AJ wins and is challenged by Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 35. So we'll see how this all plays out, and peace out. See you guys on down the road.